Thank you guys for joining me today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I'm Jeff Phillips and I've got something really good for you today, and I'm so glad to be back with you guys doing videos. Told you guys that that's the number one thing that I wanted to continue doing because I want to help people. I really do. And as we're getting closer and closer into the hunting season, been working on a lot of setups and a lot of testing. Guys, you know that's the number one thing that I enjoy probably more than anything, is tinkering and testing products and finding out what works and what doesn't work. Okay, what is the best setup for you for your traditional bow, no matter what kind of bow you're shooting? Well, today I want to talk to you about broadheads. That's right, broadheads are on docket today because I found out something this week through some testing that I think you guys might find quite interesting. I sure did. So let me show you what I got here. All right, so I have three identical arrows here. Three identical, same grain weight, same everything. Gold tip 500s, okay? One of them happens to be one of the older model 3555s. And these are the Hunter Pros, but they're the exact same grains per inch. They're 7.4 grains per inch in the arrow weight itself in a 500. So relatively lightweight arrow shafts, but I've got the high FOC running on them, like I always do. These are hunting arrows, guys. But what I want to share with you today about broadheads, you may be trying to decide, what broadhead do I need to go with? What's gonna give me the best results? Now, before I share this insight with you guys, there's a reason for everything. The reason that I started this test that I did is because I had great success with a 3-blade head last year. That's right. The VPA 3-blade, which is machined out of a solid one-piece piece of steel. It's CNC cut out of one piece of steel. Absolutely indestructible, okay? And they put animals down quick. Massive blood trails, okay? They cause a lot of damage, okay? Now, light pound bows, and when I say light pound, bows between 37 and 42 pounds, let's just say that. Commonly, you would want to go with a 2-blade head. That's always been the tradition, is to go with a 2-blade head, whether it be a Magnus Stinger like this 150 grain Magnus Stinger, or something the old faithful Grizzly. These are awesome heads. However, from what I have found out through using the Grizzlies, they have great penetration but virtually no blood trail. Unfortunately, I shot multiple deer with them. They didn't go far. It did the job. It killed them, but there was just literally no blood to follow. There wasn't. On the other hand, the Magnus Stinger buzz cut here, for instance, had a relatively good blood trail. And now these are on double lung in the boiler shots, okay? Not marginal shots where you would want to hit a deer. They did pretty good on blood trails. Not just teetotally awesome, but good. And they certainly will put the deer down. They're great heads, very good heads. The 3-blade was my choice because of how fast it put an animal down, and that the wound channel could not close up. The blood just couldn't coagulate. The wound won't close. So you're going to get a very good blood trail along with the quick kill. Now, it's always been taught and talked about and preached in the world of traditional archery and bow hunting itself that a 2-blade head will out-penetrate a 3-blade head. That's what you guys have probably always heard, me included. So I thought, well, I'm just going to do my own test with the same bow, with the exact same arrow setup. I'm going to see what they do, because I know what I want to hunt with. And is there really any difference between the 2-blade and the 4-blade when it comes to penetration? So as I began my test, I was really shocked. I was shocked to discover that my 3-blade VPA far out penetrated the Stinger. Yes, it did, in the same grain weight. You say, well, how is that? How is that possible? Well, I'll tell you how I figured this out. And I'm going to shoot these and show you guys what's up with it. So let's just say, take these two in particular. Two ready available heads that you can buy anywhere. 150 grain, 150 grain, 100 grain brass insert, same arrow weight. We're running a 580 grain arrow, 580s each one, 46 pound longbow. Okay, perfect setup. All right, the reason I believe that this head actually penetrated the target that I'm going to show you guys, and I picked it for a reason. There's lots of mediums you can test in, and they're all going to give you different results, but I thought I'm going to get something that's truly unbiased, that is going to take a lot to get into, okay? And what I found was this far out penetrated this for one reason. If you look at the ferrule, if I turn this head sideways, even though this main blade is doing all the cutting that it's doing, when it's going in, this arrow is spinning, right? You're shooting this two-blade head, this arrow leaves your bow, it is spinning. Whether it's left wing or right wing, it's spinning. If it is not a single bevel head, if it is a double bevel head like this, it will stop spinning as soon as it enters into that cavity. It will stop spinning and it will only push, right? Everybody knows that. Now that we're clear on that part, when it goes in and it stops spinning and starts just pushing, it creates friction, pure friction. If you look at this ferrule, look how much the ferrule comes out from the blades. You have a very nice flat blade, but yet you have this bulky ferrule that is going to catch friction, guys. It does. It's going to slow it down big time. With enough weight behind it, it won't. But it has showed to do that in my target. How is the three blade, even though it will stop spinning just the same as it enters, every single part of this head that is touching anything is cutting. There is no ferrule to get in the way. There is nothing to stop this thing from its momentum, because it is a cutting edge everywhere it touches. And when these things are sharp, it does not stop. It just keeps slicing. So, unbelievably, I found better penetration with this three blade, which is totally unheard of, guys. And I'm only bringing you this because I want you to get out there and try it for yourself. When I find something that works for me, I go with it, okay? And I'm not recommending anything over the other, because all these heads will do the job if you hit the animal in the right spot. It's going to do its job. But out of a 46 pound longbow, I need all the penetration I can get. And I don't want it to go in 3 or 4 inches and stop. I want to get a pass through, or at least hit an offside shoulder and possibly pass through. I want this to exit the other side if it possibly can for more blood trail. That's the only reason that I want that to happen. Now, with that being said, if you do not get a complete pass through and you're shooting a three blade head, you have a much bigger wound channel that will not close up to leave you blood on the ground to find your animal. Whereas the two blade heads typically just will not do that, even with the big grizzly. They just, even though they cut the S-shaped hole and they do rotate on a single bevel, yes they do, the wound channel is just not wide enough. Now this is my findings, guys. I know, everybody has a different opinion, and yes they split bone, yes they do this and that, great and fine. But if I make a good shot on one and I shoot it through the lungs, I expect to have blood on the ground so that I can find my deer. If it runs off wide open into a thicket that I can't see it, I want to be able to track the deer and have blood on the ground. Well, when you shoot them with a three blade, it leaves such a big hole that it can't help it. Now, in a substitution for things of this nature, in a two blade head, I highly prefer a Simmons type head that has more or less the concave blades, something that really cuts a big, massive hole. If you get a big hole cut, sure, you're going to have massive blood trail, massive hemorrhaging, you're going to cut veins and arteries and all kinds of things, and it's all good. But with the grizzlies, And the heads that don't have a really wide cut, I have found very little blood to follow, even with a great shot. So, that being said, I'm gonna glove up here and I'm gonna shoot these. Now this target, and I will take the camera up there to the target and I will show you why I picked this one. Of all the targets that I can test a broadhead out of, this particular one here that I have chosen has got a center core that is designed to stop crossbows, compounds, expandables, pretty much whatever you throw at it. It is designed to not let them pass through. I'm going to shoot a field point through it first to show you that a field point will not go in it past the outer layers. When it hits that inner layer, it is stopping. It will practically bounce out of this thing. If you shoot a spot that's worn out a little bit, it'll bounce completely out of this target. You know, your arrow will hit it and it will just completely ricochet off of it because of the core that they use on these targets here. So I thought, well, I'm gonna shoot this thing with a broadhead and just see what it does. Well, guess what? I shot it with my 3-blade VPA, 250 grains total weight, counting the insert. And I got a real good pass through on this target. I thought, wow. Okay, so I grabbed the 2-blade, and sometimes it didn't even go through. And if it did, it was just barely through from the friction that was created by the ferrule, as I explained. The ferrule itself on this particular head, I believe, slowed the head down just a little bit. Okay, so that's not going to be the case with a single bevel, because a single bevel is constantly rotating into the cavity, into the target. It's constantly rotating, opening up a channel that will let it go ahead and go through, whereas a double bevel will not. That's the difference in them, guys. So I'm going to shoot this thing right quick and show you just what it does first. First, we'll shoot a field point. Same exact arrow weight, different brand of arrows. These are Legacies, but the exact same setup, same weight. I've got the gold tips and the Legacy set up identical and both tuned for this bow. So here we go. Okay, I know it didn't pass through. Stuck in it, that's what it did. Now I'm going to shoot right beside that thing with this VPA head. Show you guys what this thing does. And they're not super sharp at all. They're not shaving sharp at all. They've been shot several times. I almost hit that arrow with it, okay? I'll shoot the big single bevel. This will give us an honest penetration test in the exact same medium. Okay? And these arrows are side by side. The Magnus. They're side by side. There we go. Now we'll look at all of them. We're going to get an idea of exactly what they do. So let's go check it out, guys. Come on. This was at about 18 yards. So, here we go. Looking at them from the side, you guys can see. Okay. Field tip, almost no penetration at all. Whichever one this is, I don't know until I go look and see, but haha, there it is, guys. Proof's in the pudding. You want to see exactly what I'm talking about, guys. This is exactly what I mean. If you look at the distance between these, and I'll get the camera down here where you can really see them. You look at that. Okay? The VPA head has far out penetrated by a long shot any of the other ones, even a single bevel. Same target medium that is designed, like I said, this is a bona fide target. Guys, this bona fide target here, it is designed, if you look at it, it is designed with an inner core in here that is not supposed to let anything even pass it. And I'm getting pass-throughs big time. Check it out, man. I mean, any way you look at these, that tells you right there, when I explained that friction on that Magnus Stinger slowed that thing down, there you go. There is no reason in my mind for a fella not to use a 3-blade head when it obviously is out penetrating the other arrows out of the same exact setup, and it has a wound channel that cannot close. Now, when it comes to splitting bone, nothing is going to work better than a single bevel. We all know that. The single bevel is going to split that bone. However, I have shot deer in the shoulders with these 3 blades and blasted through the shoulders. I mean, a deer's shoulder is not that tough, guys. So if you're shooting anything from, you know, low 40s to a 50-pound traditional bow, I draw 27 inches. If you're shooting anything like that, there is no reason that you can't go, and you go as heavy as you want to on these things. If you feel like, hey, I need a little bit more weight to be a little more assured of my penetration, do it. As long as your arrow will tune, that's all that matters. You can get these VPA 3 blades, you can get these things in 250 grains. I love the 200s. So I say at least run 250 total up front. 300's even better if your arrows will tune. You're not gonna have a problem if you do have a marginal shot on a whitetail. That I can guarantee you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I felt like it was worth bringing to you. This is just one of the little tests that I've done lately getting ready for hunting. And I felt like it was worth bringing to you because everybody's trying to get their setups ready right now to go to the woods, including myself. And we want to be as deadly as we can be. We owe it to the deer to do the most damage the quickest and put that animal down. We don't want them to suffer. That's God's creation, guys. As much as we love shooting them and hunting them, He put them here for us to enjoy, for us to hunt, and we got to be ethical. Especially with these stick bows, we've got to be ethical and put them down quick. Do the best that we can to assure that that happens anyway. So guys, thank you for joining me today on Instinctive Addiction. I love you all, and I thank you so much for joining me, and I'm so glad to be where I'm at today. God is so good. Even though we've closed up the shop and all that, I'll never probably ever get over it, but life goes on. Everything's good. Our health is great. We're doing well. We're ready to hunt, and I'm ready to do a lot of videos, guys. I want to help you all I can, and I'm going to put out as many videos as humanly possible on traditional archery, on shooting and hunting, and everything there is to do with traditional bow hunting, guys. Love you so much, and I pray God bless you, and thank you again for joining me. Until next time, goodbye.